What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Persona 6 and what systems the game seems to be releasing on. Now, there's been long talk of this game, and it kind of goes back and forth with that PlayStation exclusivity. For every insider that comes out to say, hey, I've only heard about the game on PlayStation, or even people that have flat out said that it is going to be PlayStation exclusive, you kind of have one that goes the other way. But I would say more than all of it, not that I don't trust those people. I think there's some Persona leakers that definitely know their stuff there. They know they have the connections with the right people. But the way that Atlas and Sega have been acting, I believe, is kind of the be-all, end-all. It really is. I think they're giving away where they're going, and I think it's the right move. And, well, what is it? I think it's the idea that it's going to release on as many platforms as possible, but specifically, I think not being a PlayStation exclusive. So if I were a betting man, I would say, and this is just a prediction, but I would say Persona 6 won't be just a PlayStation exclusive. I do think Xbox has swooped in at some point, and you can kind of already see this stuff with Persona 3 and even like the trilogy of games that was coming to Game Pass and all that jazz. Like, they're making a move for Japanese games just in general, but also specifically Persona. But there was actually an interview, and we talked about the same interview. I just missed this part. The same one that talked about Yakuza and Persona being potentially movies or television. Same guy, he was asked about Persona, and he was asked about the sales, like if this game can basically continue to do really well or sell, I believe, 5 million units within the first year. And his answer is quite interesting. So let's read out what the question and answer was, and we'll give my opinions after. So the question is there a chance that with its overseas popularity, the Persona series could sell 5 million copies in its first year? And then the answer is by increasing the number of platforms it's available on and the regions it's released in, we have been increasing the sales of Persona 5. We believe that it would be possible for a major Persona title, such as a numbered release, so that's 6, to sell 5 million copies in its first year by releasing it on multiple platforms and simultaneously worldwide from day one. We also have high expectations for the new IP Metaphor, and I guess that's the article talking. Metaphor, I'm very excited for as well. That game looks awesome and basically just looks like Persona in like a different, an alternate kind of universe. But so that's a really interesting line. You know, the beginning of it is almost a deflection, right? And it goes to, well, Persona 5 has done really well, right? Once we kind of opened up Persona 5, it did better and better. And that's true. Persona 5 has had a really long life, not just in how long it's been since Persona 5 first released, but starting out on PlayStation and also kind of like region-based, right? Or region-locked, and then opening it up more and more and more. And the game has done really, really well. So beginning more of a deflection to, hey, Persona 5, a game that's already out, but the ending is everything that you need, right? It's possible that a Persona numbered game, so obviously Persona 6, right? And it's funny that he says it like that because they're not expecting, I imagine, Tactica or like the arena fighting game that people think is going to come out, right? Like those games, it could come out on every console, every region. It's not going to do, that well in the first year, but for a Persona 6, and he's right. Ultimately, he's right. If it's not just on PlayStation, now I don't think PlayStation is like this curse. I'm trying to be kind of like neutral to it. Like Square Enix obviously has gotten under a lot of fire for doing the whole PlayStation thing with Final Fantasy 16, even 7. I honestly don't look into, I don't know. I think that's largely been overblown. I think Final Fantasy, we've talked about, I think it did do well. It just didn't save Square Enix from all of its failures. It's 4 to 5 game failures in the last year. So while it did well for itself, it didn't do enough to make up for, the multiple failures that Square Enix has. I don't think, and I really don't think it being released on more than just PlayStation would have dramatically done anything, to be honest with you. But I do think the general idea of, I think it's factually probably proven, more places you release it, that you pay, you have to have people pay for it, you're going to get increased sales. So I do think what's best for the Persona franchise going into 6, because every game has gotten more and more popular. You look at 4, even 4 Golden, and then leading into 5, you felt that going into 5. I actually was around a little bit going into 5, and that was the first one I really, really jumped into. But I feel like it's just so different now. Going into 6, I don't think it's ever had this kind of momentum with the remakes of 3 and continuing 5 and just how well 5 and Royal, and then even Strikers did really, really well. Like, they have so much momentum behind them, and I think you would still do well if you were just on PlayStation, but if you're on everything, this is that point. Persona, which is a lot of pressure. I think Persona 6 actually has an enormous amount of pressure on it, but I think this is the one to break it and say, okay, we're just going to release across the board. And I do think that's probably the right move, and it doesn't really, again, matter what we say, and even what the insiders. See, that's the thing, like, insiders can go back and forth. I feel like that quote is really telling, because he's basically doing a little wink saying, well, yeah, we expect more sales, we want more sales, and we think we'd get more sales if we release worldwide, which is definitely the case. You know, Persona 5 was like the last game that could really get away with that. You look at even like Yakuza games nowadays, right? Worldwide. Persona games should be releasing worldwide. Final Fantasy games are releasing worldwide. Like, any Japanese game really should come out at the same time. We're not in 2014 anymore. We're not in 2010 anymore. The internet moves too fast, right? You can't be doing, even like, I think Catherine maybe did something like that. You can't do stuff like that nowadays. So that would help for sure. And then also, you know, you have to release it on more than one place. And again, it doesn't matter what we say. They're saying if we release it more than just one system, we expect more sales. And they're probably right. So I guess what this video is about is get ready, most likely, for Persona 6 to be across the board. PlayStation, Xbox, whatever. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.